All right, Moni, who is next? Blue Water. How you doing, brother?
Yes. Hey, how are you doing yourself? I'm doing great.
I'm not
Sorry, I
bad
was
at all, bro. I'm not bad at all. Let me just turn you up a bit here. All right. What's your question, bro?
My question is, as we're delving into Dragonflight, a lot of the architecture is resembling Titan technology and such. How likely do you think it is that Illidan Stormrage might return? Because considering that he was on the seat on Pathian, we don't know what happened there exactly, if he's still alive or if Sargeras is alive.
Yeah. Okay, so the likelihood of Illidan returning is 100%, right? The question is, does he return in Dragonflight or later? We know he's returning because Blizzard is keeping him actively on the back burner to bring him back. Right? And so far, he's got a 100% success rate of returning, so I'm sure it's going to happen again. The thing is, I don't think it's going to be in Dragonflight. So, Steve Denuser, in an interview a few months ago, probably like 4 or 5 months ago now at this point, I think it was with Eurogamer, but don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. But Steve Denuser, in an interview, was asked about the story on a cosmic scale, and whether or not he thinks that that's a good way of telling stories, especially considering how few people actually enjoy those stories and that there's now a move within the community to move away from stories like that. And Steve Denuser made it very clear he still wants to tell these cosmic stories, but he thinks there needs to be a balance, between stories on Azeroth, but then also these cosmic stories, which I have to say, it's rare, but I absolutely agreed with him when he said that. I love the cosmic scale stories. The problem is when you lose focus and anchor on Azeroth, those cosmic stories feel a hell of a lot less impactful. And I think Dragonflight is the opportunity for Blizzard to get back to that, all right, let's anchor the player to their home base. We're going to take them back to Azeroth. They're going to fucking love it. This entire expansion is going to be about Azeroth. But the expansion is going to set up future stories for things that is about to happen to us. Things that we may not have been able to foresee. So, whenever you have dragons, Titans absolutely becomes a massive part of that conversation. Why? Because the very creators of the dragons, if you completely reject my speculation, go Cart, thanks for the Prime sub, really appreciate that. 8 months part of the DJ Nation, appreciate you. Thank you. If you reject my speculation, the Titans create the dragons. How are you going to do an expansion with the dragons and not have the Titans? Especially considering the fact that we had Titans technically in the Shadowlands with Odin. Right? Yeah. Odin's storyline, again, tied to the Titans, he's the son of Amonthul. So you kind of, it's building up. They're definitely building towards that giant return of the Titans. The question is, what does that return look like? And is that return in Dragonflight? And this is where I kind of hope it isn't. If that makes sense. I want Dragonflight to be about mortal things. And by mortal things, I don't mean just human orc stuff. I mean mortal things as in things on Azeroth. Let's have one expansion where we deal with Titan Watchers and maybe even with higher level Titan beings, but let's not deal with the Titans just yet. But I'm going to shift the question a little because I think the answer is we see Illidan again. If you want an official concrete answer, we see Illidan in the cinematic for the next expansion. That is when we see Illidan. It's going to be a massive cinematic and Illidan is going to be in that cinematic. So now you have me on record. We'll see what happens in about 2.5 years from now. Yuku, tier 1 sub, 46 months. Part of the DJ Nation, appreciate you. Thank you.
I am glad that you actually put up Odin and all of that, because Odin now has knowledge of the Shadowlands and all of that, how it works.
Yeah.
How likely do you think it is that he might find a way to send a message to the seat of Pantheon, and they might be able to convince Sargeras, if he's still there, that he has been fooled and maybe he will return to, not the Mad Titan, actually becomes cleansed? Do you think that's also a possibility? Because I think it is.
I don't know if Odin would be the one to sort of tattletale to the Titans. Odin is busy with a lot of shit that the Titans would not approve of, right? Like Odin built his entire own realm. He's interfered with the natural cycle of life and death. The Titans might be like, there might be a war coming, a civil war between the Titans and the Titan Watchers. So Odin would probably not be the guy to say, "Hey, Dad, these guys are fucking up." Can you believe it? He's probably not going to try to pull too much attention to Azeroth. That being said, just to finish my original thought, there is a world in which Illidan returns in Dragonflight, and that is with the death of Malfurion. We already know that Malfurion is dying because Malfurion has to sacrifice himself for Ysera. There is a world in which Illidan comes running back because there's a pair of free titties just waiting for him on Azeroth right now. Yeah. So there is a chance of that happening, right? He's going to be the one to console her, hold her, and hopefully she's going to be like, "Oh my god, I always actually loved you. Fuck my dead husband," or whatever. So there is that world in which Illidan returns. I don't think that's I don't think that's what's gonna happen, but there is a world for that at least. The Titan stuff, I think this is where it gets interesting, and this is where I'm gonna turn things on its head. What are the chances the Titans return with the full realization that Sargeras wasn't wrong?
So that the fact that Azeroth is currently corrupted by the old gods completely, almost.
No. Not that Azeroth is corrupted. I don't think, like, everyone thinks Sargeras served Zuval. There's zero evidence for that, but there is so much evidence that suggests that Sargeras was working against Zuval. Sargeras was using Zuval in order to get himself ahead, in order to, whatever his goals were, in order to exercise those goals. But I don't think Sargeras was actually working for or even with Zuval. The question is, does Sargeras tell his brothers and his sister what he's been up to? And why did he do what he did? Like, why did he believe that so many had to be sacrificed in order to save the universe? Did he believe that Azeroth should have died? Is there something that even the Titans are missing? That is the question. Because right now, Sargeras is sitting on the Pantheon, which is another curious thing, considering everything that Sargeras did. The Titans did not kill him, nor did they imprison him. They pulled him back to the Pantheon. He sits on his throne on the Pantheon, once again, I suppose, serving with his brothers and sisters. So what exactly would it look like when the Titans return, I guess, is the bigger picture question here.
It could be that the fact the fact that he isn't imprisoned, he could just technically walk away from there. Isn't that a possibility also? Because from what I understood, he didn't get imprisoned, so
yeah. But I mean, he's not in prison insofar as they didn't throw him into a jail cell, but he's not free to leave either. So he's kind of imprisoned on his own throne. Let's put it that way. So maybe the words "he's not in prison" isn't the right word. He's not banished, if that makes sense. Okay. So I don't think they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, you literally just tried to destroy the universe. Off you go then." Here's a sandwich for the road. I don't think that's going to happen, right? I think they're going to keep a very close eye on him now. This area, by the way, thanks for the 7 sub. Really appreciate that. 8 months in a row. Part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate ya. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that universe looks like. It is a universe that I want to see, though. And Thomas, just to you in the chat, you only now realize that the Titans are our enemies? Dude, I've been saying that for fucking 4 years. The Titans are evil as shit. I would much rather, like serve N'Zoth than any of the Titans. They are incredibly bad.
I mean, they are tyrannical, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, their quest for order comes at the expense of our freedom in an absolute term. So yeah, I don't trust the Titans one bit. But yeah, I'm sorry I can't provide you with a better answer than that.
No, it's fine. You answered my first question, so that's all I wondered. So
all right, well, I appreciate the question, bro. I'm glad I answered it, even though I feel like I could have answered it better, but I genuinely don't know. At this point, all I can tell you is he's coming back. The question is when and for what. And I would not mind if it's for Tyrande.
yeah, it would be kind of nice in a way.
Yeah, of course it would.
He has worked a lot. He's almost like a mirrored image of Arthas. I think he would return because Steven have already touched Arthas specifically, and the next Warcraft 3 character is Illidan. That's the big one.
Yeah. I'm sorry, one of my fucking mods is giving me an aneurysm. They are not first ones, for the love of fuck. I have a YouTube video debunking that bullshit. I will hear none of it anymore. Anyone that's stupid enough to believe that need to get the fuck out now.
Yeah, I was talking about sending it during the lobby.
Yeah, don't worry. Moni knows that it's gonna trigger me. That's why he fucking says it. But the problem is he says it and then some other fucking cunt sees it. And they're like, oh my god, the first ones? The Titans are first ones? Holy shit. And then they go to their friend's house and they're like, dude, did you hear? The Titans are the first ones. And then in a month or two, that friend arrives at one of my videos and like, oh, by the way, bro, I have this fucking crazy theory. What if the Titans are actually the first ones? And I'm like, Jesus, fuck. What if they're not? How about we just go with the thing that there's no evidence for whatsoever, shall we? So yeah, I get triggered whenever people say shit like that. But yeah, I mean, it's all up in the air right now, so I'm glad I answered your question. Thanks so much for the question, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for your time.
Take care of yourself, brother.
Good day.
You too, man. Peace out.